Hello and welcome to my channel where we talk about and play solo RPGs. Today I wanted to talk about a light and easy oracle you can use, Shufflemancy. And this is basically shuffling a playlist or music library. First of all, why might you want to use music as an oracle? Personally, I like anything that can serve as an instant input, like where I can avoid time spent flipping through pages, looking stuff up in tables, and that sort of thing. This is also why I really love cards, because I love how they give you a bunch of inputs to spark ideas, the image, the words on the card, the name of the card, the meaning of the card, and so on. Shufflemancy works in a similar way because you get the album cover, the song name, the lyrics, the mood of the song. There's just a bunch of stuff you can use to help spark ideas. So today I want to show you an example of how you can use music in your games. And you can use this just like you would use any other oracle. And so you can pair it with whatever game system you like. And today I'm going to use the game system that I created, which uses tarot cards and focuses on relationship building, but you don't really need to know the system. I'll explain what I'm doing as we go along. Also, just a note that I won't be playing any of these songs out loud because of copyright, so feel free to look them up, I guess, if you want to hear them. But anyway, you could curate playlists for this based on the type of game that you want to play. Like if you know that you want to make a very moody, sad type of game, then you could curate these types of like moody, sad songs. But today I'm just going to use my whole music library minus any instrumentals, because I usually rely the most on the lyrics when I'm drawing for inspiration. So let's get started. Generally, before I start a session, I usually have in mind what sort of story I want to do. So today I'm thinking of doing an isekai type story, which if you don't know what that is, it's a common genre, or maybe like a trope, I guess. I don't know if it's like necessarily a genre, but whatever. It's a genre or a trope in Japan where the character either gets reincarnated into another world or they get transported to another world, like they were summoned as a hero or something like that. And so I'm going to get started with character creation, and we're going to use Shufflemancy to help build them out. Also, in honor of today's video, I have my delightful Beetlejuice the Musical mug with some tea, and I wish I could show you the rest of the cup without spilling out my tea, but I got this when I saw Beetlejuice the Musical on Broadway, and it was very great. Let's see if any Beetlejuice songs come up, because I definitely have the whole soundtrack in my library as well. All right, let's get started. I'm just going to build a very basic protagonist for the purpose of our story. So I'm going to shuffle. All right, so this is the first song we got. And so usually what I do is I will browse through the lyrics and see if there's anything that is sparking inspiration for me. Or another thing you could do is you could just skip randomly somewhere. And so like this line that we got is, and I'm waiting for a time like this to prove you wrong. And that's actually giving me some interesting inspiration. That's making me think, like, what if our character's goal is to prove somebody wrong? That could be interesting to go off of. And this is usually how I build my characters. Like, I like to start with their goals and stuff like that first before I get into naming them and everything like that. And then another thing I like to use Shufflemancy for is for name inspiration. Like, I'll look at who it was written by, or I'll look at the name of the band, or even sometimes there'll be like words in the song itself that might inspire some sort of name. So I'm just gonna look at these names down here. I guess let's just go with Brad. So our protagonist will be named Brad. So he'll be a guy, and I'm just gonna make him my age. I'm 30. As for his personality and stuff, let us get another song. Okay, so this one's in Korean. Let me just scan this real quick. Let's see. This is basically like a love song type of song. But this is making me think, I guess, just because this comes from a K-drama, and they're usually pretty romance heavy. It makes me think that maybe he's like a hopeless romantic type of character. For his about, I'm not gonna create too much about him right now. I'm just gonna generally say that he was hit by a truck, which is the classic isekai trope, is that they're like hit by a truck usually, and gets reincarnated in another world. And that's all I'm going to go off of for now. I don't usually build my characters out too much to start with because I like to see how they grow over the course of the story. Although one thing we do need to do is our favorite suit, which this will not make any sense to you right now, but I'm just gonna make his favorite suit ones. So now we're gonna start our first season. In this game, it's told over 4 different seasons of the year, and I'm probably only gonna do spring or some of spring for this video. Like, I'm not gonna do a full playthrough because we're just trying to give you the idea. But basically, I'm going to pull some tarot cards. So I'm gonna make a deck, which for my deck I have my cards over on the side here. I'm gonna take 1 Wands card, and then I'm gonna take a Swords card, and then I need 6 Major Arcana. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna shuffle this, and then I'm gonna make sure that 3 random cards are reversed. So I'm just gonna reverse 3 of these randomly, and then I'm gonna shuffle it again. So this is the deck that we're going to pull from for spring. And I'm gonna move my tea. All right, the first card we got was the Magician reversed. So I'm gonna write that down. The Magician reversed. Okay. So this is not relevant to us, and neither is this. Now, these Major Arcana cards, so a card like this that has a name is a Major Arcana card, and then the suits for tarot are Cups, Wands, Swords, and Coins. So whenever we get a Major Arcana card, they represent a character. So now we're going to build out this character. And we are once again going to use songs to help us with this. So let's get our next song. I'm a monster. Ooh, okay. So yeah, right off the bat, that's just making me think that this is some sort of like monster character. And we are in a new world. So let's say that Brad comes from just Earth, like a normal world like ours, and then he gets transported into a fantasy world. So it's very plausible that he could meet some sort of monster. This line right here is specifically making me think that maybe it's like some sort of monster who... So this card is going to be our very first encounter in this new world. And so I'm thinking that he gets reincarnated, and then like right off the bat, this monster is trying to eat his heart or something like that. So I think let's go with that. Let's say a heart-eating monster. And I'm gonna roll for a dilemma. Now this is one of the things, I have a little dilemma table here. So I'm gonna roll 2d6. Okay, I got 4 and 1. So I'm gonna use 4 for the column control their spending. Okay, so his dilemma, this monster's dilemma is I'm just gonna make this monster a guy. Can he learn to control his spending? So what that's making me think of is that perhaps he sells hearts, or maybe he sells something like, I mean, I know we said that he's a heart eating monster, but maybe people think that's what he is. But what he actually does is he's like killing people and selling their hearts because he needs money, because he spends a lot of money. So that makes me think that's pretty interesting to me. I'm going to, let's see if we can get a name for him. Okay, this one doesn't have any names, so I'm gonna go to another song. Okay, this is another Korean one. I'm not gonna Lee Sung-gyu. So this guy's name is Lee Sung-gyu. Let's get another song. Okay, this one should get us lots of name inspo. Let's see. Jonathan Larson. All right, I'm thinking how about Nathan? So let's name our guy, our monster Nathan. And I don't know, he's just gonna be around the same age. As for his personality, let's see. I'm going to bring another song in, Echo of My Shadow. So let's look for personality inspo. Interesting. This line right here is making me think that perhaps he wants to be moral in some way. Like, he has a lot of guilt about what he's doing, but he's just like so deep in it that, you know, oh my god, okay, that he's just like so deep in it that he doesn't see a way out. So I'm gonna say that he is like, he wants to do good, but so deep in the heart thing. Let's just say he's so deep in debt that he doesn't see another way out, so he feels very guilty. These are not necessarily personality traits, I guess, but I'm just gonna use that as his personality of sorts. I'm gonna say, let's make him kind of shy, actually. Okay, so now I'm going to roll for impression, and this is, what sort of impression did we leave on this character when we met them? And I have here a little guide. So I only need one dice. Okay, 3. So 3 is bad, and it is -1 relationship points. And relationship points is our primary stat in this game. Oops, -1 RP. I forgot how weird the 1 looks in this font. It looks like it's like a Roman numeral. But anyway, so we got -1 RP. We've had a bad impression on him. And so this will help inform our encounter. Let me write this down. Here's where we're gonna track everybody. So the magician is number 1. Let me get my pen out. And his name is Nathan. -1 RP. All right, so now I'm gonna pull another song to use as inspiration for what happens in this encounter. History Maker. Oh, interesting. I find this very interesting lyrics to get in a song, dealing with a monster who is eating hearts. So maybe what happens is that Nathan hears, so like our protagonist, Brad, just gets reincarnated into this world. He gets reincarnated into like a forest that's kind of creepy crawly, like maybe it has really interesting foliage colors like purple or something, and he's just like, where am I? I've never seen this type of foliage before. And Nathan, the monster, hears his heartbeat. Like perhaps he's some sort of monster that has a really good sense of hearing, and that's how he can find people to steal their hearts. So he goes and he attacks our protagonist, Brad. Yeah, I feel like I like that idea. Now, why would Brad make a bad impression on the magician? What this is making me think of, so often when characters get reincarnated in these types of isekai, anime or manga or whatever, they might have some powers or something, and I'm thinking that maybe Brad has some sort of power that he gets reincarnated with. And so I kind of want to see what that might be, and if that might help us with our a Beetlejuice song, yay. Okay, that beautiful sound. So what this is making me think of is maybe he can hear people's thoughts. Like, what if he has telepathy? How funny that we have this this here again. The sound of a heart exploding inside a chest. Anyway, I'm thinking it could be interesting if Nathan or Brad hears Nathan's thoughts and confronts him like, hey, I know you don't actually want to do this. I can hear that you're like so anxious about, you know, harming another person. And Nathan is like, maybe telepathy is like not super common in this world, and so Nathan's really taken aback by this, and that's why he has a bad impression and runs away. So let's go with that. So now we're gonna go on to our second entry, King of Wands. So this is our chance to acquire a gift. Oh wait, I just forgot something, which is that if you have a reversed card, you're supposed to flip the impression so that it starts off one way, but then it reverses into another direction. And so we start off having a bad impression, and then it needs to flip. So let me just real quick get some inspiration here. My last breath. Holding my last breath, safe inside myself, are all my thoughts of you, sweet raptured flight, it ends here tonight. Closing your eyes to disappear. You pray your dreams will leave you here. Don't be afraid. Okay. So what this is making me think of is that instead of running away, so let's remove that. Perhaps Brad is empathetic in some way, and that is what ultimately leaves a good impression, because nobody has ever really been so empathetic to him as a monster. Like, everybody's just like, ew, a monster, and runs away. Okay, now let's do our King of Wands. King of Wands. And for this one, we are going to acquire a gift. That's what the minor arcana cards do, which are the suit cards like this one. And when we roll a minor arcana card, we need to look at the number, and it determines whether we get an item or a topic. And so King is a topic, so that means that he is going to learn something that he can use later on to talk to people about. Let's pull a song to see what topic he might get. Okay, so we have a song from Sweeney Todd, the barber and his wife. Well, this is basically like Sweeney Todd's backstory song, so I'm wondering if we could use this as maybe Nathan's backstory. Like, he's in the forest with Nathan and they are talking, and that's what he learns. So let's say Nathan's backstory is what he acquires during this one. And I'm gonna pull another song to inspire the encounter. Okay, beautiful disguise. Okay, so what this is making me think, I'm looking at this line here, and it's making me think that maybe Nathan needed some sort of medicine, and that's why he was in so much debt. I feel like he's trying to get his bearings on this new world, and he's talking to Nathan, and Nathan basically explains that in this world, medical care is like really expensive and hard to get a hold of. And so he got into really bad debt after an accident that he had. And perhaps this is why he wears like a mask on his face or something. So let's say that he wears like a little disguise, a little mask on his face. And because he had some sort of accident that left some scars or something like that on his face that he doesn't want to show people. And so this is what we learn about Nathan, and that's what'll happen. So then we can add this to our gift inventory. Kind of funny to have this as a gift to give to somebody else. Like, we're just gonna talk about Nathan's backstory to somebody else. All right, so I'm gonna add, let's see, so for his appearance, wears a mask to hide facial scars, and then in a lot of medical debt due to an accident. And for our protagonist, I forgot to add that we have telepathy. Okay, and so I feel like you get the idea of what I'm doing here, right? So you can basically just pull a song for anything and then just use any parts of it to give you inspiration. Like, you know, I could look at this album cover and I could be like, okay, maybe it's about surgery because these are kind of like those surgical lines. Or there's just, I can look at the name alone, beautiful disguise, like maybe he has a really beautiful mask to compensate for the facial scars. And the band name, Picture Me Broken. I don't know, like let's say instead of getting a conversation topic, he got an item. Well, maybe he got like a picture frame or like a photograph or something like that, right? So there are lots of things that you can do with this method. I don't want this video to be super long, so I'm not going to continue playing through this, but I hope that you enjoyed this video and got some good ideas, and if you give this method a try, let me know. See ya!